Today I'm thinking about, like always, a lot of people, but a couple in particular. Steve is going to be the focus of a connected learning today, and so thinking a lot about his work with Future of Education. And Nikhil's book just came out yesterday, so trying to write a review for him and thinking a lot about that. And I think what came to surface from both of those things together is the whole idea of the web allowing us, for one, the ability to lurk. I think Steve has made us extremely rich by the format he shares with the world. Having the Future of Education and bringing in these different people with different ideas in a space where you can lurk. And by that I mean somewhat, I guess, in a sense, is selfish. But I also believe that the selfishness has a good quality to it as well. He's bringing all these ideas and people into spaces where you can take information in, you can get connections that you never had before, but you don't necessarily need to do it in a way where you're playing defense or getting caught up perhaps in a conversation that might not get you to where you want to see. So the way we've used it, I hope not abused it, but is taken all this in and experimented with it. So he's given us a plethora of things to prototype. So noting that the web allows that lurking that I think helps prune out the busyness of our days to what matters, and also helps us to listen, zoom way out and listen, which I think is a piece of what Nikhil is bringing, a voice that we often don't hear, not because we don't try to listen, but because we've set up these spaces where sometimes it's just easier to get through the day when we don't share that voice or listen to that voice. Sometimes we think it's not worth it because nothing will be done with it. Sometimes we think we're the only ones that think that way, but so anyway, the whole idea that we have these abilities to lurk or to determine where our focus is going to be so that we can live in this perpetual beta. And so me as a model, as an older person that's listening in on what Steve has to offer, and lots of other people, but in particular Steve, and experimenting with that puts me in the state of perpetual beta that I've not been in before. And so I guess a finding and a noticing and a connecting of ideas for me is that efficiency often keeps us away from the movement needed. Efficiency often keeps us away from the movement needed to be fully alive, I guess. As personally, efficiency kept me in kind of a dormant phase. You had a goal, you reached it. I didn't feel as vulnerable. Everything was more controlled. And I think that vulnerability is a movement. And I don't mean like a revolutionary movement. Well, I kind of do, but I mean more of a daily aliveness movement, that uncertainty keeps you moving. So I see that personally. I see myself modeling that in particular as I listen to student voice and as I've gotten the experience of exposure to people like Steve and what he does with the Future of Ed.